Hey everyone, welcome to American Snippets. Thank you so much for being on today's show. Today we have a very special guest. He's an artist. His name is Ori Bengal, and I've been following Ori for a number of years now on social media, watching the artwork that he's been doing. He does some incredible work. It's a passion of his, and it's actually his purpose. It's the reason why he has been put on this earth. But he didn't always know that. It took him some time to realize that. But now he knows that's what he's meant to do. And he's been doing it every day, creating a piece of art every day for the last 6 years, 7 years now, I think, right? We're going on your seventh.
I'm entering my seventh year in April, so I'm at, I think, 2,172 days as to today.
Awesome.
Give or take a day or two. I Google it. I'm not the greatest at math anymore.
So one of the reasons why I wanted to have you on the show, Ori, was to talk about your purpose, right? And how it took you some time you were always passionate about art, but it took you some time to discover that that's what you were meant to do. And I thought it'd be a great lesson to be able to share that with our audience. You know, people who are struggling with, following their passion, figuring out what their purpose is, why they were put here. And sometimes it doesn't happen. You don't realize it or discover it right away. Sometimes it takes time. And a perfect example of this, is your journey to discovering what your purpose is. So tell us a little about yourself. Currently, I think you reside in Austin, Texas, correct?
I just moved here. Part of my story is, I travel a lot in my life. Like, I came to the USA from Israel on my 9th birthday, and I learned to watch English. I learned to speak English by watching cartoons, which might explain a lot. And lived in South Florida for about 20 years, then gave away my stuff, went on a road trip to find where I want to renew my lease next. That ended up being 6 full years, and I ended up being in Austin. Then Austin got a little too big for its britches. There's all of a sudden like a ton of traffic and no more parking available. And so I was like, you know what? Let's go to other direction. And I went to middle of nowhere, Georgia. So I had no issues with parking or traffic, but it also took 40 minutes to go to the store. So after a year, I decided, you know what? I've had enough quiet. It's time to go the other way. Bounced back around Northern Cali, Tucson, Arizona, Southern Cali, Phoenix. And then most recently, I was like, you know what? I've been a lot of places, but I think Austin's the one that feels like home, even with more traffic and lack of parking. And so I moved back here. Also, in 2012, I had imported my little brother from San Francisco to Austin, and he has really thrived here. So part of it also was just I miss having family around.
Sure. Family's important. Get to family a little bit. You said so. You were 9 years old when your parents came over from Israel.
When they brought us over, yeah.
So you were 9. You were born in Israel.
Yes, sir.
And how old was your brother? Was he?
I got 2 brothers. My older brother is 14 months older than me. He is now 42. I'm 41 at the moment, and my younger brother is 35. He is 6 years younger than I am. And
so do you remember a lot about Israel, like when growing up there?
So I remember some, like I still have the occasional dream where I'm running around in the neighborhood, when I was growing up. But we visited. My older brother is living there right now. He's taking a mini retirement, taking a year in Israel and a year in Italy, and so we were visiting, and nothing looks like it did when I left. So the place that I remember is not really the place that is. But yeah, I still remember some. I speak the language. I still, thank goodness for the internet. Now I can listen to Israeli music much more easily without having to wait for an uncle to come visit or anything like that.
When's the last time you went back, or have you?
Oh, it's not this. Was it last year? I think it was last year. Either last year or the year before. We went for my uncle's 70th birthday, and spend a couple weeks there.
Okay, so we've had a few people on the show who are entrepreneurs. They're following their passions, they're doing their thing, and they're also immigrants as well. And a lot of them, like interview we just did with a gentleman named Dmitry Kozlov, he came from Soviet Russia,
Yeah,
and he had a really rough childhood in terms of they lived in poverty. He remembers standing on the bread lines. Just to get bread. I mean, his mom, he had to talk his mom into like weeks just to buy him a chocolate bar because candy was so ridiculously expensive. And then you come here, right, and everything's like, right there for the taking. Everything's like instantaneous. So my question to you is, knowing your parents and a little bit about Israel, being born there, any comparisons in terms of, that country to this one? Any like drastic things that you want to point out in terms of
yeah.
differences or opportunity?
I mean, the reason my parents brought us here when we were kids is so that we don't go and have to like die for someone else's war. Whose imaginary friend is cooler, right? And so, yeah, we didn't have to serve in the military because we left at a young enough age. If you leave before age 13,
Is
and
that so? It's mandatory.
oh yeah, in Israel, it's mandatory draft. It's definitely part of the culture. Like you finish high school, you take the big test, and it's like your placement test for where in the military you're gonna be. You spend a couple years there, and then usually you take the money you made and you go and backpack through Europe or India or wherever. Israelis are notorious backpackers, and
Never knew that. Yeah.
yeah, well, learn something new. Imagine how your listeners must feel.
Yeah.
This is such an educational show.
So yeah, on a whole another side note, I find it, they're a democracy, right? But then you have to serve.
Absolutely.
So how, is it really free? You don't have full
Oh
freedom.
yeah,
Right?
absolutely. I mean, it's ridiculous. It's a extremely modern nation with like I mean I haven't been back. I'm sure my older brother, could tell you better because he's actually like living there. But it's a very free country.
But that's the only caveat is is that for men and women to serve in the
Men
military?
and women, yeah.
Yeah.
When you get out of high school is generally when most people go, and then you have to keep going back every couple years. I don't remember the exact thing, but like just to get a refresher and you're on call kind of thing until
Hmm.
certain ages. It's a small place that's smaller than Rhode Island, but it's
Yeah.
defended itself for very long time
Yeah.
against everyone around it. So it they don't really have a choice.
Yeah. Yeah. True. True.
So
So what did your parents do there?
my dad was always entrepreneurial, which kind of affected my view of the world.
Sure.
I'm very much like my dad. So when we left, right before that, my dad was managing businesses for his father. Everything from dad like some restaurants and also a factory that takes old car batteries, removes the lead from them, and then sells that lead back to the Israeli military for so they can use it for bullets and all that other good stuff they need lead for. There was some family drama. We kind of once we moved here, one of our uncles thought it'd be that he could just kind of manipulate stuff, and I don't know. There was some fighting on like between the uncles and all that stuff. We were little kids, so we didn't really know.
Yeah.
But when we got here, my parents started with restaurants, like fast food places in the mall.
Mhm.
This was a time when childhood obesity was not like really a known factor, so I was eating up everything in sight. It was ridiculous, and I guess I discovered childhood obesity for myself. But Yeah, so that fast food. Then he got into a closet company. Then he did tile restoration, and then in I think it was 2000 that he sold off his share of the business and sort of retired, but really wanted to. He loves working with computers. I got my passion for technology and computers and sci-fi
From him.
from my dad
Yeah,
for
you're
sure.
entrepreneur
And,
too. Yeah.
and so they've been doing day trading and in different methods of that since.
Does anyone else in your family have a background in art, or like is good at art?
No, I have no idea where that came from. That is, I'm definitely my own person as far as that goes.
Cool, cool. So their main inspiration for coming here was basically just more opportunity, right? And not having
Yeah,
their
like
kids have to go into the military.
they didn't want us to die for some ridiculous reason, and also, yeah, just this is the land of opportunity. It you know we came here in the end of '85. I think that the United States has a very good cost of living. Taxes are low. Um, like, yeah, the medical system's not as good as many as some other countries, but it's just a great place that if you want to do something, you can do it here. Like, I mean, obviously, I don't fear for my life in being an artist or something. I
Yeah.
mean, some of my more offensive content, I love to tell jokes and bad puns and all that stuff. So yeah, maybe I have to fear for my life, but that would have been any country, not.
No, but other countries, you do anything like that, you could find yourself
Oh,
in jail.
my little brother and I, when we were flying back from Israel, the most recent time, um, the flight got delayed and we had to spend a day in Turkey. And let me tell you, man, we just stayed hidden. We're like, all right, just keep a low profile. Don't attract attention to yourself. When we got there, like to the country, you check in and the customs and stuff. Like this family was just begging, like, please just tell us where you took her and why. Like they took the mother and just split her up from this family.
No.
And people are just begging this woman, like, please just tell us where just let us talk to her. Is there anything? And she sent the security guards after them, like to get them out of her face. And then while my little brother and I are waiting, like for her to look at our passports and stamp us in, she's just telling this other guard there, she's like mocking these people that were just there and how they were crying. And we're just looking at each other like, dude, don't say a word. It's just going to be yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, and let's get, do what we need to do to get the heck out of this country. It's like,
yeah. I mean, the freedom of thought here, freedom of expression. I mean, all those things. It's just, a lot of us take it for granted just because we haven't traveled enough to see, all those other places. So fast forward 20 years from when you came here, when you were 9 years old, you're living in, at 29 years old, you were living in Fort Lauderdale. And tell us about that experience and how those beginnings of some entrepreneurial endeavors kind of led you to your path that you're at now in terms of being an artist.
I was always drawing. No one ever actually said, "Hey, you can be an artist," or "Oh, hey, your stuff's good." Might be a career in this. It would never even crossed my mind. It was just one of those things I was always doing. I was always, I'd be buying art supplies. I'd be buying books on art, although I didn't have like willpower then. I'd start reading and then I'd be like, like the buying the book and making the finished artwork that the person who wrote the book are two different things. You got to do the work. And as a child, I didn't realize that. I've had a lot of entrepreneurial ventures along the way, but art was always the thing that I came back to, and I didn't realize that was my thing. And I mean, in eighth grade, I sold test answers because again, Well, it's entrepreneurial, and it also ties in with art and technology because you could have the thing that opened the opportunity for me to make money in selling test answers was that the teacher said you could have one page of notes. Well, this is back when not inkjet printers weren't even out. Dot matrix printers were rulers, so you didn't have font sizes. But since my dad got into closet design, he had architectural blueprint software. And on that, you could scale your blueprint. So I took all my notes from the semester, put them all onto this one blueprint, and shrunk it onto one page where you practically need a magnification glass to be able to read anything. And so you had like all the notes on one page. I'd sell for like $8, $10. I bought a Nintendo game or two. It wasn't
Right.
Guess I had different goals back then.
Sure.
And I tried washing cars in the neighborhood and mowing grass. I sucked at that. I wouldn't hire me, these days. Didn't have like the work ethic I've got now.
I know you did some photography.
Oh yeah, after like the childhood stuff, yeah. I got into. I was always into computers. I got that from my dad. Around college age, I was kind of building some of my own to supplement my graphics desires, and I had a bunch of like in '96. I worked at CompUSA. I hated it, but I was getting wholesale costs on computer parts, so it was worth it, for a bit. I got into. I was doing web design. I still do that on occasion. The technology has definitely changed. That's amazing. One of the businesses actually was while I was couch surfing for 6 years. I actually created a course called Make WordPress Easy, where I teach people um, how to make their own websites. And I did photography. I ran a print shop. I did video editing, 3D animation, all different things, but they're all creative businesses.
Creative driven, yeah, sure.
Yeah, and in 2001, I was living in South Beach in Miami, and this girl I was dating was like, "Oh my God, you got to do an art show. Your stuff's great." I was like, "Well, she's dating me, so I don't know how good her judgment can be, But she says, "No, you don't understand. My mom works with all these galleries. She wants to meet you." All right, sounds qualified. I go meet the mom and say, "Yeah, your stuff's great. You got to do an art show." Okay. And I didn't know how to research things back then, David, like I do now. And the internet sucked in 2001. And so I just put my feelers out and signed up for the first thing I could find. It wasn't even a real art show. It was one of those art walk things, second Saturday, first Friday, whatever. Hardly anyone showed up. Weather wasn't great. I went through all this trouble. I brought my buddy's trade show booth. Like, I need a U-Haul for this. I show up, and there's just a couple other people there. And they got like these little card tables and some beads. And I brought this giant thing with these big paintings and
put a lot of time, energy, and effort into it.
Yeah, and I didn't sell anything. And being that, I understood the world from the perspective of an entrepreneur, like, well, I tried this. I didn't sell anything. Therefore, I must not be an artist. And I stopped making art for 10 years.
Man.
And it wasn't until my couch surfing journeys that, towards the end of it, actually, in like late 2011, I went to Maui, and my buddy took me to all these galleries there, like right before we came back to the mainland. And by the fourth or fifth gallery, I just felt completely heartbroken because it hit me. I was like, "Oh my God, I do like art, and look at all this amazing stuff. And hey, I bet I could make stuff that's even better than half the crap in here." And then looking at the prices, because this is like a tourist area, and like, I bet these artists aren't starving either. And yeah, so I was like, I'm going to start. I got to start doing this again. For 10 years, I stopped doing the thing that was like always my thing, regardless of business, regardless of
Yeah.
anyone. This is my thing that I just kept doing, and
The one thing you were passionate about, the one thing you loved, right? It's just
I didn't
not
even
long term.
realize it because I've always had it. But so the 10 years part, I'm pretty glad it happened
Yeah.
because it makes a better story for one, and B, it gives me the appreciation for it. I know what it feels like now, not doing my thing, and that's actually my. I'm going to do this every day. That lasted a whole 2 weeks.
So let's dive into this a little bit deeper because
Sure.
you and I spoke before. So you did the art walk. Um, it was a disappointment. Didn't turn out the way you thought it was. So you kind of gave up, right? You're like, I'm not
Yeah.
an artist. I can't make any money doing this. So what's the point, right? And it was just soon after that you went on this like
Uh,
trip across America, couch
well,
surfing with people,
that was 5 years later. I mean, in the process,
a journey of self discovery.
yeah. So that was 2001. I did the flopped art show, and then 2006 I took off to go couch surfing. It was just because my lease was expiring, and I was like, oh well, where to next? And
So couch surfing is that a technical term? Tell us what that means.
it's funny. The girl I was trying to think of a blog name. I was like, I bet this would be kind of cool. I can blog about this. And the girl I was dating
It
time.
sounds like maybe like a movie like Bill and Ted's Couch Surfing Adventures or something.
Well, so couch surfing is. So the girl I was dating was like, oh, why don't you call it couch surfing across America? And I was like, wait, no. I'm like, I really like this word, couch surfing. I'm just going to buy couchsurfing.com. And it was taken. And I was like, what the hell? Who took this? And I didn't even look up the who is registry, like to see who bought. I just went to the website. I saw that they had well over 1 million people on there. I was like, okay, I guess they were here first.
Wow.
And so yeah, if there's any place that you want to visit, or even if you want to see your own backyard through new eyes, find some people to stay with. You just make a profile. You look up the area you want, and you just kind of give people the dates of when you're thinking of going, and you try to find someone that you think would be kind of cool.
Yeah.
And the cool thing is that so what it is basically is that you're staying with people for free. You try to be a good guest. I mean, I offer jokes, stories. I brought photography through couchsurfing.org, couchsurfing.com, and many of the newer sites that have come since. It's basically like Airbnb, but free.
Yeah.
And
And
sometimes
they're there. I mean, you pretty much living
yeah.
with them.
I mostly did it freestyle. I didn't reuse the website much.
Yeah.
My website was couchsurfingori.com, and I had like a little animated version of me for my business cards, and it was amazing. I mean, it was.
You stayed with some really high level people too along the way too.
I stayed with some UFC cage fighters, the CEO of Zappos.com, Tony Shea, best-selling authors.
Tell me about that. The CEO of Zappos. How was that experience, and what did you get from staying with him? Did you any a gold nugget or piece of information that you got that really impacted you?
I'd say the journey as a whole transformed me way more than any one person that I stayed with. A lot of times it wasn't even the people; it was having time without things beeping at me, without distractions, just driving across for like 14 hours a day or whatever. And I listened to a lot of audiobooks.
Yeah, I was just going to ask you what did you what did you do to pass the time?
Well, I really enjoyed the driving. It was like all this new scenery, and even if you've driven on a particular route before, once when the weather changes or it's a different time of year, you get a completely different view of it. So just enjoying the scenery, having some quiet and distraction-free time is so rare these days. But I was absolutely addicted to audiobooks, and
And I love that because, we talked about audiobooks before, and I'm a big fan of audiobooks myself. And, they say 5 years from now, you'll be the same person you are today, except for the people you surround yourself with and the books that you read. Right. But now, because of technology, we can plug in an audiobook, listen to it in the car while we're walking, running, working out, whatever. And it's a great way for self-improvement, education, get better.
The first time that I'd heard it was the saying is by Zig Ziglar. He calls it the University on Wheels. And now Zig Ziglar has passed away. He was a motivational speaker for those who's not known. So when he talks about audio cassettes. That tells you how long ago this was. But at the time, he said,
depending on what car you have, you might still be able to listen to an audio cassette, but likely not.
So he said that if you have a standard commute, half an hour to work, half an hour back, 50 weeks out of the year, 5 days a week. Well, basically, if you have a standard commute, an hour a day, 5 days out of the week, 50 weeks out of the year, and you listen to audiobooks that whole time, within 3 years, you will have gotten the equivalent of a 2-year college education. Well, I mean, there was many days where I was driving 8 hours, 10 hours, 14 hours. I think my record was 22 hours in one day. I had to get from.
So you're basically Dr. Ori.
Yeah, exactly. I don't have a particular degree in anything, but I'm very good at solving problems in any genre, whether physical, business, personal. I think that art is problem solving in many senses.
Yeah.
But yeah, the cool thing was that since I was staying with people and people knew I was excited about audiobooks, people would often load my iPod. That was a thing back then. With their collection. They're like, oh, what are you listening to now? Here. And a lot of it was not just audiobooks like what you might find on Audible. A lot of it was, the courses that you might buy at a conference. Here's this course on this kind of marketing or that kind of marketing. And I mentioned internet marketing. That's kind of the world that we know each other through, but, I got into that world. I discovered that on the road as well. And I really liked that world because there was a lot of people who appreciated their freedoms and were kind of self-made. A lot of people will buy a course. It's not like, oh, I went to school for this. It's, oh, I had this job. I didn't like it. I bought this course because I wanted to change. And that they had to implement. So it means you have to get through a lot of the mental barriers, a lot of the fears, and
would you say your couch surfing experience or your parents wanting to strike it out on their own and go after the American dream attributed more to your entrepreneurial spirit and being an artist and being self-made? Which impacted you greater, or maybe both equally?
I'm not sure. I'm not 100% sure. I think that my couch surfing went so well and for so long because it was an adventure. I think I'm wired for adventure. Like my old business card used to say adventurer, web guy, adventurer, photographer. And I had on one side, I'm sitting there with a suit doing the thinker pose. On the other side,
it's like a Renaissance man, right?
Well, on the other side, yeah, I had like 4 lingerie models ripping my shirt off while I'm holding the camera and my hair is all braided and like.
I think I've seen that picture, yeah.
And the cool thing was that people would collect that card. Like I had people, I'd go to a conference and people would get my card, then they'd track me down, be like, "Can I have your card?" I'm like, "Wait, I already gave you one." They're like, "Yeah, someone else took it." And it's like, what? And the funny thing is, I was just having fun, but other people saw it as inspiration to actually hear someone who's doing what they actually want to instead of just suffering at a day job that they hate or whatever.
Yeah.
And I think that's I don't think that it was my couch surfing or my parents being entrepreneurial. I think we're all just wired a certain way. I tell bad jokes. Like, I urge people not to bring me to funerals or anything too serious because I will be telling jokes. Like, I mean, I'm getting a little better at having a little filter now that I'm older, but not that much. And, that's part of my charm. I and so I'm stubborn. I've always done things my own way. I think that possibly, my parents bringing us here, well, that was so that we could pursue our dreams and opportunities and not have to die in the military. I think that helped me um, kind of get used to adventures because, like, oh wow, we flew on a plane at 9 on getting the window seat and like flying from one country to another.
Yeah, I mean, that was an adventure in and of itself. I mean,
Yeah,
sure.
absolutely. But it was at that point like knew everything, right? Like the different, we're living in a different place. The culture is different. The language is different. I mean, it sucked too because kids are mean, and I didn't know the language and all this other stuff. But I think it got me used to being able to create new beginnings, right? And so, I mean, I had to learn a new language. I had to adapt to a new culture.
Sure.
When I went to couch surfing, that was like I'm staying with new people every day, every week, right? I'm going to different cities. I mean, and that I don't know if that. I think I was entrepreneurial way before that. Probably because that's what my dad was, but I think mostly just because I'm really stubborn. I don't like alarm clocks, and I'm good at optimizing things. So every job that I have, I improve the workflow, but a lot of times people don't like that. A lot of times, they're like, no, this is how we do things because this is how we have done things.
Mm-hmm.
They don't actually like sit there and evaluate. Well, are we trying to actually improve things?
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I've never been. I think it's what Dan Kennedy calls serially unemployable. I'd, I'd rather be working for myself.
Yeah,
And
I'm in that same category, my friend, for sure.
yeah,
For sure. So at
yeah.
the end of your couch surfing, journey, you landed in Maui, and you've
Ooh, no,
rediscovered your love. I mean, you were heartbroken once you
yeah.
realized that, man,
Well,
what I've been doing for the 10 years, I haven't been doing what I was supposed to be doing.
yeah. Well, it hit me like how silly it was. It was like, wow, I just tried something once and it didn't go the way I wanted. Thankfully, I was a little bit more determined when it came to learning to walk because I hear I didn't get that the first try either. But yeah, it really is that silly. I tried something once. I didn't know what I was doing. It's not like I researched how do you do an art show and all that. It just didn't go the way I expected, and so I was like, well, I guess I'm not an artist. It's not for 10 years.
Yeah.
So yeah, I felt heartbroken. I said, all right, I'm going to do this every day. And that ended up lasting a whole 2 weeks. And then the next year, in April of 2012, I went to this place in Chicago called Lifebook, where you sit there for 4 days with no internet, no cell phone, and you just think about what do you want, what don't you want in your life. And when it came to what don't I want, I remember that feeling of heartbreak that I had in Maui, and I was like, well, I definitely don't want that in my life. And I said, so what's the strategy? What's the plan? And one of the things that I've learned that is the equivalent of a superpower is accountability. And there's different forms of accountability. I got six pack out. I don't have them at the moment, but the one time I did it, I was like, I've never had six pack abs. Oh, I know. I'll go for it. And I posted on Facebook that I'm going for 6-pack abs by my birthday. It was July at the time. My birthday is in December. And so each week I would post my accountability photo on Facebook, a photo of me with no shirt and a picture of the scale. And it really sucked because I didn't want to be posting those pictures because I wasn't at where I wanted to be. But this kept me accountable because it showed people where I was. And if I wasn't, if I looked fatter next week, I'd hear about it.
Yeah.
And so I actually reached my goal and I couldn't believe it. It was being accountable to a friend and my clients who had already purchased my course, which is how I completed my Make WordPress Easy course. And so I was like, all right, what's my plan? I'm going to leverage accountability.
And public accountability is super powerful.
Public accountability, yeah. So I wrote, I'm just going to post to Facebook that, hey, I'm going to do a new drawing every day. I figured somewhere out there, some jerk that's just waiting to go, ha, I knew you couldn't do it. But man, that poor jerk's got to be bored by now. I mean, it's been 6 years, almost 7. And, since then, drawing has become painting, has become sculpting and carving and welding. And now I've got a book. This one's a prototype. Actually, the really funny thing, David, is that I've been doing this for so long, but it was only in early February that I actually was like, hey, it just hit me. I actually identify as an artist who happens to have a lot of marketer friends. Because before I just identified as a marketer who just happens to make art every single day. And I was like, no, I'm definitely an artist. Like this is definitely what I say now. People are like, oh, what do you do? And so I started like, well, if I identify as an artist, like what's different? Well, let's go be an artist. So I've started hanging out with other artists and going to gallery shows and putting my stuff in galleries, and it's been fun.
So how did your marketing background impact your art?
Well, that is the gift. The marketing is the gift in the from those 10 years of not doing art. Is I got a lot of different skills from that. One of them was internet marketing, and this is something that I think that children should be taught, before they're taught history. Like, just you're in grade school, start learning copywriting. Not A is for Apple, but, like S is for SEO. And I'm very fortunate. I tell people that I'm fortunate that I succeeded as a marketer before I succeeded as an artist, because it changes everything. It's a superpower of sorts, not just for yourself, but rather for other people. It's amazing how many people don't actually know what they're doing when it comes to running a business or to getting results. When I say artist, one of the first things that people think of is starving artists, right? We got that whole genre more than with most other industries or professions, occupations. So you don't hear starving real estate artists or agents, starving restaurateurs. There's success and failure in every single industry, but artists have that like branding, like
stigma almost, yeah.
Stigma, yeah. And the reason is because they're really great at making their particular art, but not great at marketing. And so I'm having a giveaway, for example, and it starts April 22nd. If people want to sign up now, they can. They'll get the notification.
The giveaway is for your book, right? Your art book.
Well, I'm actually giving away a couple of things. I hate those things, where like there's only one winner, and then it's like, they even want to enter. So I'm giving away, I'm giving away 5 of the books, and this is just the prototype. The final one's actually like bigger. I went to the library to their oversized book section.
Oh, cool.
To,
Cool.
oh, that was so much fun. Like, I'm like, whoa! I'm trying to take selfies. I went twice because I took pictures of those books next to my book, and I was like, when you look at it as a photo, you just don't get the reference for the size. And so I was like, let me go back again, and I'll do selfies. And some of these books are so huge they couldn't even fit in the picture. Like,
Yeah.
I don't have a selfie stick or anything. I was like, all right, that's too big. But it was definitely fun. But
Yeah, I'm excited to see the final version of it.
Oh, you and me both. Well, the final version isn't going to the printers until April 22nd because
Right.
that's the start of year 7. And so there's still a couple of pictures in year 6 to make, and that might be good enough to, for the book.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm definitely working. So it's going to be bigger, like thicker pages, thicker paper, larger pages, more pages.
Awesome.
But the giveaway, which is over at, I'm giving away a large custom, whatever you want painted, 40 inches by 70 inches, which is huge. That's a grand prize. If you don't have that kind of wall space, I'll do 2 smaller ones. I'm also giving away 4 social media size, so just digital portraits. So, you can have like a really unique profile picture,
Mm-hmm.
and also a couple of the books themselves as well. Yeah.
Awesome.
And, but marketing is what's making this possible. So a lot of people go, oh, I need to make an art book. Actually, I'm not sure a lot of people say that, but a lot of people say, I'm going to do a book, right? And, for whatever reason. And, people think that that's the hard part. No, in fact, that's why publishers will give you an advance if you can prove that a lot of people are going to want to purchase your book. Like, because publishers don't actually do much promotion and sales for you.
Yeah.
They can get to the bookstores, but if you show that you have a platform, like Gary Vaynerchuk, for example, had his winelibrary.tv.
Sure.
He had a huge following. When you can show that you've got an eager audience, it's pretty safe to assume that if you put out a book, you're going to get a lot of sales. So he can get an advance very easily, whereas someone who may be smart, may be brilliant, and may know their stuff, but doesn't have a platform, doesn't have an audience, they may not be able to get an advance at all.
Yeah.
It's all based on how much sales you can do, how much marketing you can do.
And I know you have a pretty big audience because you leverage Facebook. I mean, you interact with your fans and the people that follow you by having them, help you, give titles to your art, things like that. So it's very engaging. And I know the people that have been following you for quite some time and are engaged with each piece of art that you post on social media. So, that's
Absolutely.
your platform. Yeah.
I love social media. It's actually, the majority of my art sales comes through social media. Although obviously now that's going to change, but you're asking about the marketing. So I said I'm having a giveaway, and people can sign up at gift.theartofori.com. And, the way that one works is, it's leveraging stuff I've learned within marketing. I mean, it's leveraging the product launch formula, right? People put in their name and email address, and then they're going to get like 3 videos that kind of tell them a little bit who I am, why this book is cool, stuff that I wouldn't be able to, that they might not pay attention to if I was just had it all on that one page. A sales page is, the marketing term, and I know how to do copywriting. I know how to explain why this book is a great investment, or why it's, inspiring and all that stuff. And when you sign up for the giveaway, you get a magic link. You share your link. Anytime someone signs up using your link, you get 10 more tickets. So your odds of winning go up. And, I'm leveraging joint venture partners and affiliates, basically. Not an affiliate system on this particular one. I'm just trying to get the word out about the giveaway. But but I have friends that have large mailing lists of clients and subscribers. Like my buddy Mark is sending it out to 160,000 people. You
Nice.
take that viral aspect of the giveaway, that software, and plug a couple 100,000 people into that. They're each going to share, to all their social media people, because they want to win,
Right.
a custom painting that would cost $5,000 or the book or whatever. And they're going to share it. And then the people seeing it are going to share it. And I'm running Facebook ads and Instagram ads to the contest as well. That's much different than if you build it, they will come.
Yeah.
And is through my experience in marketing. I mean, that's why this is starting on April 22nd, because I've learned in copywriting that you have reason why advertising, right? Well, I'm doing this to celebrate my 7th year and that's why it's that date. I'm doing this not because of the marketing, but I am doing this because, like I said, I just realized that I now identify as an artist, so
Yeah.
I've got to own it, and that's why the book's going to be bigger and thicker and have more art. This one I just made because I do so many different things and so many different styles, and people are like, "Oh, what kind of stuff do you do?" Like, no one believes you when you try to describe everything that's in here, but then you show them the book, and people are like, "You did all of this, like you're so good." Yeah, that's why I have a book.
Yeah, and I went through some of the book, and you have some great paintings in there, some amazing stories that go with those paintings. I know you, you think paintings are more than just a pretty picture. I know you have a lot of clients who commissioned your artwork who, you've really impacted them through the art that you've done. I know you have a personal story yourself that was really, touched you in terms of your grandmother, and so you want to share that story real quick?
Yeah. So back to Israel again. So I was in Georgia. I mentioned that 2014 to 2015, and my parents called me up and say, "Hey, we're flying to Israel tomorrow." Like, wow, that's kind of short notice. And they're like, "Yeah, we just found out your grandma's got cancer, and it's bad, like really bad. Like she might not be alive by the time we land." Whoa. All right. Well, I'll be here if you need me. And we use WhatsApp as our phone app, especially while we're in international places. You can send text, photos, little voicemails, kind of our family communication platform now. And so my parents are in Israel. They're spending time in the hospital, hanging out with grandma. Their friends are coming to visit them, at the hospital. And my older brother says, "Hey, you do art every single day anyways. Why don't you make something for grandma?" Well, that's a pretty good idea. Now, I had bounced around so much. All my photo albums are back at my parents' place in Northern Cali. And I haven't seen grandma in like a decade. So I don't have any photos of her. I don't remember exactly what she looks like. I know she's aged a lot. Like each time I'd seen her, she's in her 90s and stuff now. And so I did remember that when we were kids, she'd always take us hiking. She was part of this nature conservancy groups, and so there's a lot of nature stuff. I remember that. And she always makes us wear hats. Like there's this hat, I don't know what it's called in America, but in Israel, the translation literally is "stupid hat," and "kova tembel," silly hat, moron hat. I don't know, something like that. But that's what it's called. And my grandma would always try to make us wear these things. When you were like, "But Grandma, we're going to a water park. Like we're going to be on water slide. So tie the hat on." We're like, "Okay, Grandma," and you just leave with a hat and you take it off like 2 minutes afterwards. But I remember the hat thing. So I painted I painted two children wearing shorts and tank tops and these hats, and an older lady, wearing one of those hats and all khakis, and we were by a river, and that's what I sent. And I sent it on WhatsApp, like what my brother had suggested, because my parents were sitting by her bedside. So I sent it to them. They showed it to my grandma, and they called me up and they left me a little message. They're like, yeah, grandma saw it. She lit right up. Like, I mean, she was tired and low on energy and all this stuff, obviously from the cancer and all that stuff they were doing to her. But she saw this and it energized her. She lit right up. She's smiling. She's like, I know exactly what that is. And she's smiling. And then they took her into chemo and she never came out. And so this was like the last thing my grandma saw. She went into chemo basically. The last time anyone saw her, she had a smile on. And, it's, wow, it's
powerful. Yeah.
Yeah. Like I didn't know, like, I think that's the first time I was able to actually tell that story and like not like start crying. It's just weird, like knowing that you've got the power to do something like that.
But Ori, it's a great way to kind of wrap this up, because I think anyone who looks at your artwork, or when they get a chance to get your art book and kind of go through or follow you on Facebook and see the art that you're publishing on a daily basis, that's exactly what it does. I mean, it puts a smile on your face. I know it does for me, and that's a superpower. Being able to impact someone like that, make them smile, just give them a little boost for the day. I mean, that's, doesn't get any better than that, man.
Well, a lot of my stuff is goofy. Like I'm a happy-go-lucky kind of guy. When things go bad, I break out with the jokes. When things are good, I break out with the jokes.
Yeah.
But it's not all goofy. Like I'm really moved by like sad art. But it's a form of communication. I had someone break into my car last week, 2 weeks ago. They stole a bunch of stuff. I was pissed, but I didn't want a pity party, so I didn't post on Facebook, boo-hoo, someone broke in my car. I didn't want the constant reminders that people were going, oh, I'm sorry, and then I have to think about the car again. I'm like, So I just painted a sad Ori, and I just posted to Facebook. I didn't say anything about it other than got a title for my latest painting.
Yeah.
And I got to communicate my thing, but I didn't.
And people will interpret that the way they, interpret it at that moment in time that they're looking at it. Yeah.
There's so many different stories about how it's become personal. Like what I've been doing recently is I've really enjoyed unveiling paintings. I got a little easel. So digital marketer Perry Belcher, Ryan Dice, and Roland Frazier, they have their $30,000 a year mastermind called War Room. And I went to War Room and did an unveiling for Ryan Dice. Anyone who's ever seen Ryan present at Traffic and Conversion or any of the other things, he tells a story of, why he got into internet marketing. And for those of you who don't know, Ryan Dice has moved many hundreds of millions of dollars of both products, training products, and all that. And so he has literally changed the lives of thousands upon thousands of people. But the reason he got started is he met this girl when he was in college. He knew that she was the one. And so he just wanted to figure out this marketing thing, like this online thing, so that the payments on the ring would be taken care of, like automated in an automated method. And so he could propose to her. And, obviously since then he's made way more than just to cover the ring. But the way he tells the story is he always has the slide of what he calls Millennium Man, like the day they met. She was in a sorority and he had shown up there. I think he was at a costume party before. And so he had actually made his own costume. It was like this blue shorts with a blue shirt, and like he took silver tape and put a big M across it and he called Millennium Man. And so there's this photo of him and Emily's got her head resting on his shoulder, and there's like 8 other sorority girls there. And so Ryan says, like, yep, that was the epitome of my coolness. Everyone sees this like, wow, Ryan, you're so cool. You and like 9 girls. But I saw it and I was like, huh, he's always telling that story. And this is the photo from the day they met, but it's got like 8 other people in it. So I took just Ryan and Emily. And the photo is, it's from the 90s. So it's only like photo size. It's like grainy. It's not like best. I took it, and since I'm not restricted by the colors, the lighting, or anything, I made like a 30 by 40 inch painting of it, and it's just him and her. So now, after like 20 years after they met, they finally have a picture from the day they met of just the 2 of them.
That's awesome.
And I got to do like a big unveiling in front of everyone. I put it on an easel, and I had it covered in like crushed velvet. I wrote like a little speech, like where the actual unveiling was timed through it. And that's been really fun to do. I mean, like seeing like an entire audience. I've had the audiences of like, sometimes 10 people, sometimes 300 people, and like people laugh, and it's kind of like public speaking meets art. And now all these people, a bunch of these people get to go, hey, and my painting is like immortalized in this book now. So it's kind of,
that's awesome.
Yeah, it's been life changing for sure.
Yeah, I'm happy for you, man, and your journey, and you rediscovering your passion and art and the impact you're making. Stories that you're telling. And it's just great, and I look forward to following you more and seeing you on what you unveil next.
You and me both, man. I tell you, if you take a step back, part of the reason is that I refuse to miss a day. Obviously, like I took 10 years off, so I've got to make up for that time.
Sure, yeah.
Also, that's like part of my story now. Like, it'd be silly to go, oh yeah, I did it every day for 6 years, and I took a couple of days off, and then so I can't take a day off. But and part of the reason also is that people keep messaging me about how it's inspired them to. Some people it's been art, some people it's music, someone got into electronics. Like by following your own passion, you're giving other people permission to follow theirs.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely love it.
So
real quick, we have to end this out, we got a lightning round.
All right.
Okay, so these are fast questions and answers. Advice to your 22-year-old self.
Everything turns out great, so just keep doing what you're doing. But if I had to start listening to audiobooks, that absolutely changed my life. So I would definitely drop a hint about that. Audiobooks, and probably, I'd probably tell myself go study internet marketing. Start doing art every single day. But 22 years old. Wait, so I was like 20 years ago, 98. Start buying up Google ads and get Google stock.
Yeah, right. Forget about Yahoo.
Yeah, exactly. Time travel is tricky, you don't get that. But absolutely, audiobooks and like ruining the surprise. Hey, guess what? You know what? You're an artist. Run with it.
Yeah. Who do you want to, if you could pick anyone that you'd like to meet who's alive, who would you like to meet and why?
Richard Branson. That guy is so cool. He is a living example that you can have a sense of humor and do things your way and still succeed. He's one of the wealthiest people in the world. And he's got a sense of humor. When British Airways, if you read his books, you hear they were playing really dirty trying to put out Virgin Airlines, and he still had a sense of humor about it. So when they had a plane that was like a new plane, they had all the press there for the inaugural flight, but the front wheel wouldn't go up, and so while they were stuck there, Branson phoned in one of his Virgin airships, and so a blimp flies over this plane with a banner that says "BA can't get it up," and he does stuff like that all the time. And I was told, a lot of people told, like that business is stuffy. You got to wear a suit. You got to go to a meeting. Yes or no, sir. And he's doing stuff like that. So
yeah, not anymore. It's not like that. That's for sure. So this is a question that we're really passionate about here because we believe the American dream is alive and well, right? Everyone in this country has the opportunity to create the life that they want to live. Coming from someone who came from Israel, your parents came from Israel, you're an immigrant. What does the American dream, mean to you as an artist?
I don't think it says I'm an artist now. Who knows? 10 years from now, maybe I'll figure something else. I mean, I'd certainly like to think I'm going to keep going with this, obviously, after this many days in a row and all that. And I love it. But you never know. And that is the American dream. That is that you can do what you want, without getting lynched or anything else. I mean, you might. I mean, there's obviously, it's pretty easy to offend people these days, but you have the freedom to pursue whatever opportunities you want. You hear all these success stories. Someone that came over here with like nothing but the shirt on their back and, ended up becoming a billionaire or whatever. And it's not even all about money. It's just that you have the ability here to believe in what you want. My older brother is gay. He's married now, so him and his husband and their daughter are now traveling the world. Just a couple years, a year in Israel, a year in Italy, just so their daughter gets to grow up in the places they grew up. Mm-hmm. And, there's a lot of places where obviously they would have been like stoned to death or things like that.
Crazy to think about. Yeah.
Yeah. And, I smoke weed on occasion. There's places in the world where, you get killed for that. It's just whether my older brother is very corporate. He's CFO material. My younger brother, I got him into the world of internet marketing. He is now a copywriter. But my parents now live in Northern Cali. They do day trading. It's the fact that whether you want to, like my dad's journey, whether you want to be a mechanical engineer, you want to be like, you don't have your job chosen for you. Granted, you got to deal with like the people, and that can be like the scary thing for people here, right? You got to deal with your own inner fears. Ooh, I want to be an artist, but as my parents kept reminding me, but you could make more money just working at McDonald's because at first I didn't have consistency of sales and all that. And it's like, and there's days where it hits you like, wow, that's right. I probably could just go for a job at McDonald's or something or Best Buy, but you have the freedom to live where you want, how you want, and do what you want.
Yeah, I mean, it's life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. I mean,
it really is that, and you don't have to like necessarily hide who you are. Like you gotta deal with people still, but I'm a happy person. Like just about every single day. Because A, I get to do my art every day, but B, I don't hide who I am. I tell my horrible jokes on Facebook. I know they're not funny half the time, but some people get them. And we can if we don't like what the president is doing, we can say something about it.
That's right.
If we like it, we can say something about it. If use our religion. I mean, this kind of privacy, this kind of freedom has never really existed in history before. And, I think enjoy it while it lasts. I'm not sure it's always going to be like this. And, I think, we'll be able to tell children down the line about how it used to be back in 2018.
Well, you know what? I think it's our duty, folks like you, folks like me, who understand how powerful this is, to keep that alive. And
Yeah.
I'm optimistic that not only will this continue, it'll only improve. We live in a great land of opportunity. The opportunities, I think, are greater now more than ever, and I hope they continue, to be that. So, look, where can people find you? Where can people hear about your jokes and follow you on Facebook and see your recent paintings? Tell us how they can get in touch with you and follow you.
So on most of the socials, at the Art of Ori. So that's Instagram, Twitter, Facebook / the Art of Ori is my page. And sure, I'd definitely appreciate if you go like those. But for the best interactive Ori experience, go find my personal profile, which is facebook.com/Ori, ORI, .Bengal, BENGAL. That's the spot where I don't just post my art, but I also tell my stupid jokes and interesting sci-fi and science. Those two are crossing over a lot these days. Articles and random crazy stuff that happens to me.
Awesome.
Because my life, I broke up a dog fight the other day. It's random. So.
Well, look, I've been following Ori for a number of years. He posts some really great artwork. He's a very talented artist. That you're going to definitely want to stay in tune with what he's doing and follow him on social media. Get his book when it comes out. And the only way you're going to know about that is by connecting with him on social media, getting involved in his giveaway that's coming up. And Ori, appreciate you being here on American Snippets. Thank you so much for your time.
Appreciate you having me. Thank you for yours.
All right, man. Take care.